This is what happens when you work out the same day you're doing a relaxer refresh. And even though you let your hair cool down, you let your body cool down, your pores are still open.
This is exactly why relaxer treatments and services should never be treated casually, because what this woman is describing in this video is something I have seen happen far too many times in this industry. For those of you who are new here, my name is Djanie, and I'm an advanced hair, scalp, and skin practitioner with almost 30 years of experience within the industry. And I specialize in textured hair and scalp health. Now, honestly, I already know some people in the comments are going to say, oh, relaxers are bad, or textured hair should never be relaxed. But the reality is more nuanced than that, because in many cases, it's not just the product alone that creates the damage. It's the condition of the scalp before the service even starts. And that's the part that people dangerously underestimate. So let's break down what likely happened here. What she's describing is a chemical scalp burn associated with compromised scalp integrity and increased scalp sensitivity before the relaxer application. Now, she mentioned working out at the same time, and this is where people need to pay attention. After intense exercise, heat exposure, sweating, friction, steam, or scalp stimulation, the scalp can become more vulnerable and reactive. Sweat itself can increase scalp irritation. Heat also increases vasodilation, and friction disrupts the skin barrier. And if the scalp has already been scratched, exfoliated, or inflamed or irritated beforehand, you dramatically increase the risk of chemical injury during a relaxer service. And this is exactly why thorough consultations are important. There have been many times in my clinic where I have completely cancelled a client's relaxer appointment after a consultation. Now, that's not because I wanted to inconvenience them, but because I could already see the warning signs. Clients telling me, oh, I scratched my scalp aggressively last night, or I used a scalp scrub during my last wash day, or I had a steam treatment, or I washed my hair vigorously and aggressively, or their scalp has been itching a lot more. And people don't realize that even tiny microscopic abrasions on the scalp can become entry points for chemical burns. That relaxer is an alkaline chemical process. It is literally designed to break down the protein structures of the hair in order to permanently alter the curl pattern. If your scalp barrier is compromised, the chemical can penetrate deeper into the skin far more aggressively than we would like it to. And once the scalp becomes severely inflamed or burnt, you can end up with scabbing, ulceration, follicular damage, traction, vulnerability, secondary infection, and severe cases even cause permanent scarring, alopecia. That's the part people do not talk about enough.
It literally burnt my scalp, took my hair out in the places where the pores were the hottest. My scalp is ashy, and I'm gonna have to hope and pray that my hair comes back.
Now, do all relaxers automatically cause baldness? No. In this case, this is what's happened, but that's not what happens all the time. But improper relaxer practices absolutely increases the risk of hair and scalp damage, especially when services overlap. For example, the timings are incorrect, neutralization is poor, or the scalp is compromised, the hair is already weakened. For example, in this lady's case, or an untrained person applying chemicals without understanding scalp health. Now, I don't know if this lady is trained in handling chemicals for the hair and scalp, but issues like these occur when we have untrained people who are applying chemicals without really understanding what happens to the scalp or even scalp health in general. And honestly, social media has made this worse because people watch one quick DIY video and suddenly think chemical services are beginner friendly. They are not. Let's continue with the video and see what happens.
We're about to shave this off though, because ain't no more saving this. As you can see, it's the same in the back. All of this is saved. RIP.
So it's looking as though that around her head is where the hair loss has, or where the scalp burn has occurred. It's looking as though she's also got some burns on the scalp, the top of her scalp, and certain patchy areas where the hair and scalp seem to have been more vulnerable to the aggressive nature of the relaxer than she had hoped. A relaxer service should never start with, let's just see what happens. That is your scalp. This is a living tissue. This is your follicular health. And once scarring occurs, regrowth is never guaranteed. This is also why in my practice and through our relaxer program, in partnership with Vegan Hair Salon, scalp preparation, consultation, strand testing, timing, scalp assessment, and aftercare education are taken extremely seriously. We put these things in place not so that we create friction for anyone to access the treatment services that we have available, but truly it is to protect the person and the hair, because healthy, relaxed hair is possible. But it is only possible when the hair and the scalp are assessed properly, when boundaries are respected, and when the service is approached professionally instead of casually, let me just put a relaxer on my hair this afternoon. But this idea that people can aggressively scratch their scalp or do steam treatments or go working out heavily or apply random oils and then immediately put a relaxer on top, that is a recipe for disaster. And honestly, one of the saddest parts about videos like these is that you can hear the emotional distress in her voice, because hair is deeply tied to identity, confidence, femininity, self-expression. And when somebody suddenly experiences a chemical breakage of this type or a scalp injury, it's not just hair to them. That's why education is important. That's why I build education into every appointment that I have with my clients and patients. That's why consultation is important. And that's why I will always say a good practitioner, stylist should be willing to say no to a service when the scalp is not in a safe condition. Even if the client is disappointed in the moment, because protecting the long-term integrity of the scalp should always come first. That should be your most important markers. So if you're someone who relaxes your hair or you are considering it, here's my advice. Do not scratch your scalp beforehand. Avoid intense exercise immediately before the service. Avoid steam treatments beforehand. Avoid heavy manipulation. I'm talking no tugging, no high tension styles, and do not overlap chemicals repeatedly. And please stop treating relaxers like it's a casual DIY experiment. You can get real damage. Your scalp remembers everything. And if you want professional guidance on healthy textured hair, scalp support, or our healthy relaxer program, which is only for professionals, visit us via the link below. Because the goal is not just straight hair. The goal is healthy hair and a healthy scalp first.